Hi, welcome to Tuesday night. So I was just sitting editing some photos and looked at my watch. I was like, what day is it? And it's Tuesday at 8:30, and it had totally slipped my mind that I do my best to live stream every Tuesday night at 8:30. And so here I am. And we're going to keep it a short one tonight because my dinner just got here. But there's something about forcing myself to live stream every Tuesday at 8:30. And the lessons that I've learned by doing this and by forcing myself to do this and by talking live, like this stuff is tough. You may not believe me on this, but it doesn't come naturally to me. And the ability to spin a narrative, to follow an argument is something that I've had to learn painfully and over time, and to keep a train of thought. And with live streaming, with comments and things like that, it's a distraction and it can stop your train of thought. And so it's been fun to push myself out of the comfort zone and do it this way. But what I wanted to talk about tonight for just a few minutes is that as I talk about how I've gotten better at maintaining a train of thought, technology, for the past few weeks, technology has crept back into my life in a way that it hadn't in a while. And specifically, my relationship with my phone. And I was good. I was good for a long time. And then the winter, as it got darker and longer and colder, and the days were short, and business was tough, and Omicron happened, and all these things, I started looking for connection more on my phone and just texting people more and having more phone calls and FaceTimes, and that's all good. But the flip side of that is I started using my phone more, and then I started checking different websites, and I was back a couple weeks ago. I was checking Reddit every day again for a few days, and it's just, to me, that's this litmus test of, am I just looking for something? It's not that I need to know anything or that I have to check on something. Reddit is the barometer for me of like, hey, I fill my brain with something. I don't care what. Put something in front of me. Give me a reaction. I'm hungry for a reaction, and it's stuff that just the front page can make me angry, make me happy. But usually it makes me upset about something, because it's controversy, it's sensationalism that gets to the front. And so I also started playing Call of Duty again on my phone, which was fun for a little bit because I forgot how good I am, and I had a few great games. I played for about a week again, and I could look at my screen time, and it would be a bad situation to to realize how much time I wasted. And I made a video a couple of years ago when I quit social media about auditing social media, as far as what presence and the time it takes to maintain that presence, what is important. And not saying like you shouldn't use Facebook, you shouldn't use Instagram, but you should be able to confidently and happily say, I want to spend X amount of minutes a day, a week, a month on Instagram, on Facebook. And if that number is high for you, if you're a creative and you get inspiration, and that was one of the things for me when I was on Instagram with photography, of just my feed, I had over time curated to be mostly like visual accounts of people, like directors of photography and photographers that I liked, where their stuff is exciting. It's cool to look at, and it makes me want to go try something. It gives me a different idea than I may have had. So I'm not dogging on the platform entirely, but there was also noise, and especially Facebook when I quit Facebook several years ago. But it was easy to look at that and say, with Instagram, I want to dedicate, let's say, an hour a week. And that hour goes by quick. And if you're doing anything on social media and you're trying to make posts and engage with people and respond to comments and things like that, it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but you do that 10 minutes a day, and that's more than an hour a week. And Again, that may be fine. It may fill your soul with goodness. It may fill you with inspiration. It may engage you with your fans. It may make you money. But if you don't have that resolution ahead of time to say, this is what I want to be doing on the platform, then you're in a spot where you're not in control. And that's where I had gotten. And that's why I stepped away from the social media platforms. But the past like 2 weeks, I slipped back into the spot where like first thing in the morning, I'm on my phone before I do anything else. And if I wake up sort of early and I know I'm still going back to bed again, I look at my phone at 5 o'clock in the morning and I'll do Wordle and then go back to bed. But it's just a really unhealthy relationship. And so I'm back to taking some steps to reduce my phone time, including I'm stopping keeping my phone in my room overnight. I don't want it at the bedside table. I don't want it to be the last thing I look at when I go to bed and the first thing I look at when I wake up in the morning. Which makes the problem of an alarm clock comically relevant, because the alarm clock technology has existed for years, but everyone I know uses their phone as an alarm clock, and I need to get one again. I had one and it broke, but this is what I've been struggling with this past few weeks, and trying to find a happy middle ground where I can use my phone, because my phone makes my job possible in a lot of ways. Being able to check my email here and there, as I'm mostly a full-time dad, and I check my email and respond to things during lunch, or during nap time rather. But there's time where business happens, and there's times where he's engaged with something, or it's helpful to say I've got my phone, I can do these things. So I don't discount what a phone does, but if it gets to that point where you're using it more than you should and where you're just looking at it, it's a bad place to be. And that's absolutely where I got to. And so I stepped back to do this audit again of like, okay, I'm enjoying playing Call of Duty. I'm enjoying checking Reddit from time to time. But is that the amount of time? When I look at the end of the week, I'm like, oh my gosh, I mean, a Call of Duty game is 10 minutes. And if I played 15 games, that's over 2 hours. And that's bad for me. And almost 2 hours. But no, I said 15. 150. Yeah, my math adds up. It's fine. But to step back and say at the beginning of the week, like, I want to spend 2 hours playing Call of Duty this week, that may be a decision that's right for you, but for me, it was not the right decision. And there's other things I want to do. And things like reading, I wasn't. And it's easy for me to say at the beginning of the week, hey, I would like to spend 3 hours this week reading. And if I say that, I can do that. I can work toward that. But if instead I'm letting time slip away to other things, it gets in the way. And so it's not just that time waste, but also that undirected, I mean, aimless is a good word for it, but just that mindless thirst for interaction, and sitting on the New York Times or Reddit, or reading through YouTube comments or something. All that sort of stuff isn't stuff that I want to be. It isn't stuff that at the beginning of the week I would say, hey, I hope this week that I spend a few hours just looking at what other people on Reddit have said is important and have angered people to the point of upvoting it, and they're having a reaction to it. Because at the end of the day, that doesn't help me. That puts me in a spot where I'm just angry about stuff. Most of it is stuff that I cannot affect at all with any changes in my life, and being aware of it versus being unaware of it doesn't help. And like politics for me, I was getting angry at things that were happening against the social change and social justice that our country needs. And I would read these things that certain senators or representatives have said and done. It doesn't help anything. I'm just angry now. I'm just aware of it and I'm angry. And at a point, it gets to a spot where once I start reading that stuff every week, I'm looking for it again. And it's not like, hey, I want to know what is being said about Bill, HR, whatever. It's just like, hey, I wonder what these guys, what these girls have said this week. I wonder how bad have they gotten. And doesn't help. Doesn't inform me, doesn't make me a better voter. It's just anger and noise that makes these platforms make more money. And that's, again, if I step back to the beginning of my week and I say, how many hours do I want to spend surfing Reddit, playing Call of Duty, playing Wordle. Like, how much do I want to do this? It's probably not a number I would pick at the beginning of the week that matches what I'm actually doing. But then the other part of it is, how much time do I want to spend sort of angry about this stuff? And then after I get angry, how much time do I want to spend just sort of in this daily loop of like, well, I want to get an update on, did anyone get a good Twitter burn in on Ted Cruz? And that anger is frustrating. And I watched it. I haven't been watching the show, but Jesse was watching Inventing Anna, I think, or Anna. And it's the Netflix story about Anna Delvey, I think it is, or Delaney, I don't know. But somebody, Laverne Cox's character in it, said something about like, I'm done being angry, because when you're angry, you make someone else the center of your story, and it's all focused on someone else. And as cliche as that is, it's true. And when I get angry about other people, which is a lot of what my mindless surfing of the internet does, all it does is make me think about these other people, and it gives them my time, it gives them my attention. And that's not, again, if I step back at the beginning of the week and I say, I want my week to go like this, I don't think I would say I would like to spend 10 minutes just angry at Ted Cruz. But I end up doing that when I dip into these places and I look for who's been saying what and who's been snapping back and who got a good response and who got the last word. It's just not a good place to be. And so my challenge to myself as I maintain my relationship with technology is to reduce my usage a little bit more, be mindful about where I put my device and when. But then the other part of it is just to say, look at your screen time at the end of a week. And instead of making broad changes like, oh, I just want to use my phone less, that's not what this is about. But ask yourself at the beginning of the week, how much time do you want to spend looking at Instagram? How much time this week do you want to spend playing Call of Duty? And it doesn't have to be 0, but you should be able to be, the goal here, the ideal goal is to be able to zoom out at the end and say that number of minutes that you want to spend doing X matches the minutes that you spent doing it. And if you find that you're slipping and watching way too much YouTube, for example, or you're surfing Reddit or whatever websites, or playing games on your phone, whatever it is, it's all fine if it matches your intention. But if you find that it's exceeding your intention, that's when you just need to take a step back and say, is this right for me? And I absolutely got to that point these past few weeks. And so I'm excited for my next few weeks, because as I course correct, hopefully I will get in some very good habits. And I'm sure over time I will slip and I will need to re-audit and reapproach these things. But for the time being, I have an energy about it, and I'm excited to take that energy and turn it into action and find a happier state of mental health for myself. That's all I got. Thanks for hanging out for a couple minutes tonight. If you're watching this later, I really appreciate it. Yeah, great point. I've used the limits on my phone, especially for Reddit, and I set it to 5 minutes. And I quickly stopped noticing that I was saying ignore. And that's on me. And again, I get that there's ways, and it's just a willpower thing, and there's tools, there's easy things to do. But for me, the awareness at the beginning of the week to say, how much time do I want to spend on Reddit? That's an important step of it, not just looking at my daily whatever and knowing that, oh, a couple more minutes is fine. I want to see that aggregate and make a smarter decision about it. So that's what I'm working on this week, and trying to find a little bit of happiness therein. My wife said, there you go. That's not a bad idea. That's all I got for tonight. Thanks for hanging out. I'll be back next Tuesday, every Tuesday at 8:30, with the exception of the first Tuesday in May. I think I'm going to try to go live for like 30 seconds to have done it, but it's Jesse's birthday. And I don't want to sit on YouTube live on Jesse's birthday, but I'm going to post a cool conversation that I got to have with somebody I met on YouTube who's a video producer in France. And he and I got to have a really cool conversation about the contrast between how he fits his entire production kit on his bike and rides around where he lives in France, and how I load up a pickup truck with more gear than I actually use on the gig. So it was a fun conversation, but that's what I'm going to post on May 3rd. But other than that, every Tuesday night, come hang out. We'll talk about more fun stuff than this, I promise. Have a great night. Have a great day, whatever, wherever. See you later. Bye. And now's that weird part of the live stream where I haven't